An iPhone can pass through hundreds of hands and machines before it reaches your pocket. Inside one finished phone are parts measured in fractions of a millimeter. A busy line can build thousands of phones in a day. But before the screen turns on, the process begins with metal, glass, silicon, chemicals, heat, pressure, and strict control. The first stage happens far from the final assembly plant. The materials inside an iPhone come from mines, refineries, glass plants, chip factories, battery lines, and chemical suppliers. Aluminum, titanium, copper, gold, tin, tungsten, lithium, cobalt, nickel, silica sand, rare earth elements, and plastic resins are collected, purified, weighed, tested, and turned into parts small enough to fit inside a device thinner than a pencil. The frame starts as aluminum or titanium. Aluminum melts at about 660 degrees Celsius. Titanium needs far more heat, so it is handled in special furnaces. Once the metal is purified, it is cast into slabs or billets, carving spaces for buttons, speakers, antennas, screws, cameras, and the charging port. This cutting has to be exact. If a camera opening is off by a fraction of a millimeter, the lens may not sit square. If the display edge is uneven, the phone may not seal. After machining, the frame is polished, brushed, or blasted with fine particles to create its surface. Chemical baths remove oil and metal dust. Workers and cameras check the finish under bright light, looking for dents, stains, tool marks, rough edges, and color mismatch. The glass begins with silica sand, soda ash, and limestone. These ingredients are mixed and melted in a furnace at roughly 1,500 degrees Celsius until they become clear molten glass. The glass is formed into thin sheets, cooled slowly so it does not crack, then cut into phone-sized panels. Grinding machines smooth the edges because sharp glass would chip during assembly. The panels are strengthened in a hot salt bath, often around 400 degrees Celsius, where larger ions move into the surface and make the glass harder to break. The display is built in a clean factory. Glass, touch sensors, thin circuits, polarizing films, organic light-emitting layers, and protective coatings are stacked with robotic arms and vacuum tools. Alignment cameras line up each layer. A screen has millions of pixels, and every pixel must light correctly. Dead area or touch fault. Workers wear cleanroom suits, masks, gloves, and shoe covers so skin flakes, fibers, and hair stay away from the panels. The camera modules are made like tiny optical instruments. Lenses are molded, polished, coated, and stacked inside a small barrel. Image sensors are cut from silicon wafers and bonded to tiny circuit boards. Robots place adhesive in precise dots, then align the lens over the sensor. Test machines point the module at charts with lines, colors, and patterns. They measure focus, sharpness, color, dust, stabilization, and exposure. A module that fails is removed before it reaches the phone. The main processor begins in a semiconductor plant. Silicon wafers are sliced from ultra-pure crystal and polished until they reflect like mirrors. In clean rooms, machines print tiny circuit patterns using light, gases, chemicals, heat, and metal layers. A single wafer can hold hundreds of chips. Probes touch each chip and test electrical behavior. Bad chips are marked. Good chips are cut apart, packaged, heated, powered, and tested again before shipment. The logic board turns those chips into a working system. It starts as layers of fiberglass and copper. Copper traces are etched into paths that carry power and signals. Machines drill microscopic holes, plate them with metal, and press the layers together with heat. The board then enters a surface mount line. A stencil prints solder paste onto the pads. Pick-and-place machines grab tiny resistors. Capacitors, connectors, memory chips, and power chips from reels and trays, placing tens of thousands of parts per hour. The board moves into a reflow oven. The temperature rises in controlled zones until the lead-free solder melts, usually near 220 to 250 degrees Celsius, then cools so every part bonds to the board. Cameras inspect the surface. X-ray machines check hidden joints beneath larger chips. Test pins touch the board and measure voltage, current, memory, signal paths, and basic startup. The battery is made on another controlled line. The anode and cathode are stacked or wound with separator film between them. The cell is sealed in a pouch filled with electrolyte and given its first slow charge. This formation step is closely watched because it helps create the internal layer that makes the battery safer and more stable. Each battery is checked for capacity, swelling, leakage, and internal resistance. Now the finished parts arrive at the final assembly factory. Warehouses receive trays of frames, displays, cameras, batteries, speakers, screws, flex cables, seals, motors, and logic boards. Every tray has barcodes. Workers scan each batch so the factory knows which supplier, date, and lot went into each phone. If a defect appears later, the factory can trace the problem instead of stopping the whole line. The assembly floor is split into long stations. Some are robotic, some use workers with electric screwdrivers, torque drivers, tweezers, microscopes, scanners, suction tools, and air blowers. The empty frame is placed into a fixture. The fixture holds it steady and prevents bending while parts are installed. Small parts go in first. Buttons, speaker chambers, microphones, antennas, vibration motors, brackets, gaskets, and seals are placed inside the frame. Adhesive strips and foam pads stop rattling, absorb shock, and help block water and dust. Screws are tightened to exact torque values. Too loose and a part can move. Too tight and threads can strip or the frame can warp. The logic board is lowered into place and connected to flex cables. These cables link the board to cameras, buttons, speakers, antennas, charging parts, the display, and sensors. A connector may be only a few millimeters wide, so cameras check that it sits flat and fully locked. The battery is placed with pull-tab adhesive strips. It must sit flat because pressure points can affect thickness and safety. Next, the camera modules are installed into the rear housing. The lenses must align with the glass openings and sit at the right height. Workers and machines check for dust before sealing this area. A tiny particle under the lens cover could show up in every photo. Factory software powers the device for the first time. Machines check whether the screen lights evenly, whether touch works across the whole surface, whether brightness responds, and whether sensors report correctly. Only after these checks does the phone move to closing. A sealing adhesive is applied around the frame. This helps block water and dust. The display is folded down and pressed into place by a controlled press. Pressure has to be even around the edges. Too little pressure leaves gaps. Too much can damage the glass or display layers. The phone may rest so the adhesive reaches the right strength. The closed phone enters final testing. Robotic fingers tap and swipe the screen. Audio chambers play tones through the speakers and measure microphone response. Wireless tests happen inside shielded boxes, so outside signals do not interfere. Cellular, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and other radios are checked for strength and stability. Charging is tested through the connector or wireless coil. The cameras are tested again inside the finished phone. Test patterns measure focus, exposure, color, and stabilization. Face ID parts are checked with depth targets. The flashlight is measured for brightness. The vibration motor is tested for strength and sound. Pressure or vacuum chambers check water resistance without dunking every unit in water. If air leaks through the body, water could enter later, so that phone is rejected or repaired. Cosmetic inspection is just as strict. Workers and cameras examine the glass, frame, camera rings, buttons, back surface, and seams. They look for scratches, dust under glass, uneven gaps, stains, rough edges, and color differences. The phone is turned under strong lights because some marks only appear at an angle. Approved phones move to software loading. Factory systems install the correct operating system build, region settings, calibration files, and device identifiers. The phone is not set up like a customer phone yet. It is loaded only enough to prove that hardware and software work together. Calibration data for the display, battery, cameras, and sensors is saved to the device. After final approval, the phone is cleaned and protective films are applied by alignment machines. The phone is placed into its box with printed materials and any included cable. Packaging machines fold cartons, insert parts, close the box, and apply seals. Scanners confirm the serial number on the box matches the phone inside. Finished boxes are grouped into shipping cartons. Cartons are weighed, labeled, scanned, stacked on pallets, and wrapped. Forklifts or automated carts move them to loading areas. From there, finished iPhones travel to distribution centers, carriers, retail stores, and customers around the world. By the time an iPhone leaves the factory, it has gone from mined minerals and melted glass to a device packed with thousands of working parts. Every screw, cable, seal, camera, chip, battery, and screen has been cut, cleaned, aligned, tested, rejected if needed, and tested again. That is how a pocket-sized phone is built at scale.